Okay, in this continuation or part 3 of modeling knife blades, I'm going to continue to model a knife blade that is based on this particular design here. So again, I'm just going to take a look at this image, and there are two sharp edges on top, and then there's a blunt edge here, and then there's a long sharp edge here. So how am I going to approach this? I'm going to start by creating a cross section that runs across this section of the blade, okay, around here. So as usual with the videos before this one, I'm going to start off with a polygon cube, assign it with the material, the transparent material which I've created, or rather I can adjust the transparency value of the material. And I'm just going to create a section representation of this, representing this cross section. So going to the channel box of the cube, I'm going to subdivide this with two subdivisions in the height and one subdivision, or rather two subdivisions in the width of the cube. Okay, I think this is sufficient. I will now go over to the vertex mode and then just scale it down until I got the rough thickness of the blade. And I'm going to go to the bottom and select these vertices and then just scale them along the x-axis, in this case here, to create the sharp edge. So I end up with this basic piece here. So now going back to object mode, and in my side view here, I'm going to bring the blade against the reference, pressing F to focus on the selected object. I'm just going to grab and move the vertices into the position. Okay, this will be representing the blade itself. Just going to follow the orientation of the line, and then finally bringing this down. And I notice that there's an even sharper edge here, so I'm going to try this. I'm going to move the edge down here, and then I'm going to select the bottom faces, these two bottom faces, or I can hold on to Control, right mouse click to faces, contain faces, press Control E to extrude. Okay, press W to move and extrude the section downwards, press E to scale, rather R to scale, and then scale it inwards to create the extra sharp edge here. So I'll end up with a cross section looking like this. Okay, so now I'm just going to continue to grab these vertices and press W and move along until I reached here. Then I'm going to grab this top vertex here, these two vertices here, I'm going to move it up here, then this one here, these vertices here, and I'm going to insert edge loop so that I have another section that I can pull across. Okay, I'm going to grab the ends here now. So I'm doing this rather than extruding the faces all the time. So I'm going to pull this out here. Now at this section here, I know that it transitions to a sharper edge on top. So I need to modify the top side here so that it becomes sharp. So in order to create the transition, I need to insert one edge loop here so that I can go to vertex mode and pull it down to here. So I know the sharpness of the blade starts from this section on top based on my observation from this photo alone. Then I can move this down here, this particular line I can move it up here. Okay, and this group here, I'm going to move it up here to follow the flow of the blade. Again, I'm going to insert one edge loop just behind the edge here, pressing W. I'm going to grab the switching over the vertex and grabbing the vertices here and pull it all the way straight here. I can push this upwards, bring it back a little bit, grab the bottom vertices, pull it upwards until it matches the edge, grab the top vertex and then pull it down. Okay, right now we have to move this very finely. I normally try not to collapse all the vertices too close to each other, otherwise I'll have a hard time trying to select them. Then select the entire group, press F in the perspective view, and you can see these group of vertices are obviously too far apart, so I'm going to grab them to a side and then using the scale manipulator and then push it in until I have a nice edge. And now I can grab all of them together and just squeeze it in a little bit. Alright, so now I have a really sharp point in front here. Noting that there's a curve here, I'm going to use my insert edge loop tool again. Insert one that's about halfway distance here, but I'll prefer the line to cut in a perpendicular distance or perpendicular angle here along the curve. So while the edge loop is selected, okay, I can rotate this, okay, until it is perpendicular. Press Q to go to select, go to vertex mode, and then grab to move the vertices until it matches the flow of the blade. Okay, for these vertex here, I can move this one up here. Okay, again, I'm going to use the same trick. Insert one edge loop here, press Q to go to select, right mouse click, go to vertex, and gradually pull the edge here. Okay, and then manually move to form the outline and shape of the vertex, or rather the blade itself. Now I'm not going to continue beyond here. I'm just going to end around here. So I'm just going to insert one more edge loop here so that I have enough detail, enough vertices to pull back. Now for some of you who are modeling knife blades for the first time, you will notice that if your blade has a lot of holes, okay, resist the temptation to create the holes. Okay, you want to block out the shape of the knife blade first. Okay, and I think I need another edge loop right about here so that I can create the transition between the hardness, the blunt area. Okay, I know that there's a transition from sharp to blunt around this section here, so I have to go underneath the knife blade and unsharpen them. So how do I unsharpen? So I know this region here is not sharp. Okay, it will need a two closely placed edge loop so they can transition from the sharp to not sharp. Okay, let me just show you what I mean. So I need to select the vertices behind this edge loop here, and then using the x-axis to widen them, and then I'm going to select the bottom vertices only and widen them. Okay, I think I forgot to select one more vertex here, so just try to widen them. Okay, let me just reselect them again. I didn't rescale them properly. There you go. Okay, so now this section here is not is blunt, and with the extra detail that I've created, I can just model the bump or the curve section here. So now I have a low resolution version of this blade, and let's see what it looks like subdivided. Okay, so if I press number 3, okay, it should look pretty close to the blade that I want. Okay, but first let me just delete the history and change the shading from transparency to solid. Okay, it appears that I have created a very thin blade, so what I'm going to do is select the entire object, select all the vertices, and just make it a little bit wider. Okay, so it maintains its shape pretty well, and but we still need a bunch of edge loops to bring up the hardness of the edges. So let's go to level 1 subdivision. Okay, I have no idea what that is. Where did that come from? Okay, see, let me just undo that. Okay, never mind, I'm just going to ignore that for now. And I'm going to insert edge loops to tighten the model. Okay, let me just try undoing. Do not understand what I pressed to bring that out. Okay, so there you go. Okay, so I have no idea what that round thing is, but anyway, let's go back to level 1. Okay, and select all the vertices, and I'm just gonna scale it out just a little bit thicker because I'm not seeing any definition thickness on the blade itself. Press number 3 to inspect again, and now we're just going to add edge loops to really tighten up the edges of this blade. So go to edge mode and insert edge loop, and we can start by inserting an edge loop close to here, another one up here, another one on top here, perhaps another one over here just to bring up the corner here. And there you can see the edges are now coming out much clearer, and the top part of these vertices, I really want them to be much sharper. So going to level 1, you can grab all these vertices on top, holding down the shift, and then using scale to scale them closer so that the edges will appear much sharper. Alright, so you're gonna have to figure out how to continue the rest to create the handle and all that. Okay, because this video is just showing you how to create sharp looking blades. So this is the third blade that I'm demonstrating. So the next blade I'll be showing is the Khopesh. So I'm going to put this object into this layer, and then I'm going to hide them. And in the next video I'm going to show you how to model this type of blade.